is Rory O'Toole.
And my name is Matt Schultz.
And this is How to Be,
the podcast where we discuss ancient wisdom, modern hacks, paperback self-help books, and pithy platitudes
in the hopes of figuring out the best way to live this one precious and wild life.
Do you think of yourself as a good person? Someone who is interested in acts of altruism? If so, maybe you should donate a kidney. Join us as we discuss what is lost and what is gained by giving up this vital organ.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Roar.
Before we start, I have some housekeeping items for everyone, all of our listeners. We are going on a little hiatus after the month of December. So there will be this episode, another episode, and then no episodes in January as we take a break before season 2 launches.
Season 2.
And are you learning this for the first time? Did you forget?
Yes, this is new to me.
And if you have any suggestions for topics you'd like to hear, feel free to DM us on Instagram. We're always open. We love to hear from our listeners who are also our friends.
Place bets about who our special guest stars are going to be season 2.
Sure.
So there's some rumors going around that it's Zendaya. We can neither confirm nor deny.
It's either going to be Zendaya or Nancy Grace.
Or Nancy Pelosi.
Or Matt's Aunt Nancy.
It could be 3 Nancys and a Zendaya. And her name, she changed it. It was originally Nancy.
Nancaya. So how are you doing today, Matt?
Do you want to hear something sad?
Okay.
Well, after how in our last episode about quitting, I told you how my soccer coach counseled me off the team when I was like 5.
Yeah.
My mom told me the way they explained it to me as a kid was they just told me soccer was over.
No. That is sad. Wait, I cannot believe that you were... And I know your mom thinks that you were good at sports. You just didn't care to be. You could have been good at sports. You just didn't care. But even at that age, it seems like you were pretty bad.
No, I just didn't care. I wanted to sit in the grass and...
Does anyone care?
Some kids care. Some kids like
How old
sports.
were you?
Actually, that's most kids.
How old were you?
5 or 6.
Oh, I thought there were always kids sitting in the grass at soccer.
I know this coach, he was like
all business.
That.
He's like, I'm spending my time doing this, okay? I need to see all of you like a beehive chasing that ball.
We were called the Bumblebees.
How long is a kid's soccer game, I wonder? They can't possibly be an hour long.
3 hours.
They can't possibly make people do that for an hour. It has to be 30 minutes.
World Cup level. Do you believe that anyone plays soccer? Trying to move a ball across the field with just your feet? It's insane.
It's the only thing more insane is that people watch it. It's like the number one watched sport in the universe.
My boss asked me if I watched it, and if I was watching the World Cup, and I said no. And I said, "What about you?" And he wrote back one word: mesmerized.
Wow.
He finds it mesmerizing.
Which boss is this? Jewish Journal or Rabbi you interned for? Oh, okay.
I know. I'm a man of many bosses.
A man of many bosses, a man of many jobs.
I serve many masters.
You do. But you don't serve that fellowship anymore to give an update on our quitting. The fellowship Matt tried to quit once and then got sucked back into. He's fully quit.
Yeah, I quit again.
To give another one.
Ooh, did I quit?
Yeah, you quit with a bang too.
I quit with a bang. I had an op-ed ready to be published in Haaretz newspaper about the circumstances of my quitting. Me and the editor pulled it. This is not even a joke. Me and the editor pulled it at the last minute.
Yes, because you did receive an apology from the organization.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't get into that. You can DM me for details.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you're all
Exactly. You didn't publish the op-ed, so you're not here to talk about it.
Exactly. In the vault.
You're a vault. You're a vault. Okay. So
Sacrifice.
That's what we're talking about today. Extreme acts of altruism and sacrifice.
So I originally wanted this episode to just be called Donating a Kidney, because there's a thing in Jewish religious culture of live organ donation, because it is, I don't know, it's just considered to be like sort of this ultimate good deed.
Oh, so it's more common in Jewish culture.
I don't know like the relative stats, but it's definitely like a trend in Orthodox. I think Orthodox Jews have some of the highest levels of live organ donation to strangers.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy because, I mean, yes, I was looking. Well, I have a lot to say about donating a kidney. Maybe this episode can just be all about that. But yeah, what's it called? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's altruistic kidney donation or non-specific donor kidney donation. Yeah. So people who donate a kidney, you have 2 of them, and you're like alive and well, and you just give it out to the organ donation list. Anyone can receive it.
Anyone, a Nazi.
Yeah. The Orthodox community, they're not directing it towards other Orthodox Jews. Non-directive, I think is what's called.
Israel, there's probably a high chance of it landing with a Jew.
Yeah.
But certainly not any sort of, they have no control over that.
It's control-less.
No, it just goes to the next person in line. And if you're in America, it's probably certainly not someone from your community.
Right. Or like you could find a stranger who needs a kidney donation on Facebook and be like, I want to give it to that person, and you have no connection to them.
Yeah, you could specifically request Selena Gomez.
Yeah, well, Selena Gomez famously had her friend donate a kidney to her. Her friend donated a kidney, and I don't think they're friends anymore.
Well, what good is she now? You got the kidney.
That's the thing is like, okay, this is obviously like an extreme thing that you would do as a good deed. Is it, Matt, why is it so common in the Orthodox community?
I don't know. It's just like, I've read different articles about it. Like I read one like sort of critical article about it. That was sort of like that it's this like keeping up with the Joneses of doing a good deed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting take.
Which I think is a rather ungenerous way to look at a really kind thing to do. Like, even if there are like maybe some egoistic motives, like there are egoistic motives to everything. There are also egoistic motives to not donating your kidney.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this might be my Jewish bias here, but I think it's a community that's really focused on good deeds. There's a
really
culture of do-gooderism, and I think there are people who do extreme things in every culture in accordance with those values. So like in like Western American culture, we value beauty. So you have like a Heidi Montag, to be perfectly timely with my reference.
She was kind of a trailblazer with that, though. Extreme radical plastic surgery.
Yeah. So where the value is good deed doing, mitzvah performance.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have people who do the extreme of that. Or if you have like I can't think of any other cultures. Those are the 2 cultures I know.
Sure, if you're in a polygamous culture, you're going to be really into taking multiple wives.
Yeah, if you're like part of the fundamentalist Mormon church, you're going to want lots. You're not going to be satisfied with 5 wives who are above the age of 18. You want 30 wives, half of whom are like 13. Right?
For me, I don't think I would ever. Do you think you would donate a kidney? Non-directed.
Non-directed. There, you found it. You found the word. No, because like there's part of me that wants to be that extreme. But I have people in my life like you being like, don't give your kidney.
Oh, really? It's me that's keeping you from giving a kidney? That's it. I'm the person standing in the way.
No, I have a lot of people in my life who would be like, who would talk me out, who would want to talk me out of it.
No, I think you should do it. Donate a kidney.
Okay, I will. Well, okay, so there's a great short story called Jewish Guilt, written by Judy Budnitz, who's some sort of distant relative of mine, like a second cousin. And it's about...
Before we get into the story, Jewish guilt is a thing. Catholic guilt is a thing.
Yeah.
Is there Buddhist guilt? Hindu guilt? Islamic guilt?
Yes, for sure.
For sure, right? All religions just make you feel guilty.
Yeah, but there are different kinds of guilt.
Non-denominational guilt? Unitarian guilt.
100% non-denominational guilt. White guilt?
White guilt for sure, 100%. What is the difference between Jewish guilt and Catholic guilt?
Catholic guilt is like you're guilty that you sinned. Jewish guilt is you're guilty that you haven't been a good enough son to your mother. It's like relational and it's about what you didn't do, whereas Catholic guilt is spiritual and it's about what you did do.
It's funny because I think that you have more Catholic guilt and I have more Jewish guilt.
Yeah.
In our lives.
Well, I'm half Catholic, so, there you go.
You're definitely more worried about sin and I'm definitely more worried about disappointing people.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, so the
story is about this relational Jewish guilt. It's about a man who, sort of an absurdist, surreal story. His mother is a heart issue, and his two like Yenta-ish aunts are trying to pressure him to donate his heart to her, which obviously means he'll die.
Right.
But they keep pressuring him. How can you not do this for your mother? And then there's this one like really beautiful part of the story that I think of often where he's like, I always thought that the way you pay back your parents for the sacrifices they made for you was that you go forth, you become successful, you get married, you have kids, you give your parents grandkids, you give your kids everything that your parents gave you. And then he goes, maybe this is easier. Just one. And like, I think that is, to me, some of the appeal of the kidney give, the non-directed kidney give. It's
100%. I was just going to say that.
Could I do all my work for this planet right now on an operating table and then have no one be able to say shit to me about what my obligations to this world are ever
It's
again?
A one and done. It's a one and done. I'll never have to volunteer for a phone bank again. I'm good.
You're good. I gave someone a kidney out of my body. They cut open my body and took my kidney and they gave it to some stranger.
Some stranger, okay? He could be a prisoner for all I know.
He could be a prisoner. He could be, yeah, it could be Harvey Weinstein.
You think? Then everyone would think you did a really bad deed.
No, there's a story.
Yeah, that is a good story. Well,
yeah, Harvey Weinstein knocks on your door to thank you.
Yeah. Well, you read Bad Art Friend, right?
Oh my God, yes. We have to discuss that.
So, will you explain Bad Art Friend, or should I explain
Bad Art Friend was an article and a podcast and a cultural discussion that happened maybe like 6-8 months ago, something like that. The article was about a woman who did a non-directed kidney donation. She documented the whole thing on her personal blog. She was a bit self-aggrandizing about it, from what I can gather. She wrote a cringy open letter to the recipient of her organ who she didn't know, but she posted on her blog, "Dear you."
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Who ended up
Dear
being an
person.
Orthodox Jew. Actually.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So
Dear
what did the
you,
letter say?
I've been everything I do, I think of you, even though I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So then this woman had an old friend, like, they weren't really in touch, but they were acquaintances. I think they studied together.
They were like,
They're
they're
both-
both writers, and they were in a
both writers.
writing like collective together.
Yes.
And they ran in the same group of a bunch of writers.
Yeah. And this other one is more successful. Okay. She's
The
like
non-donor.
Yeah. So she writes a story and she's non-white, and the organ donor is white. So she writes a short story based on the organ donor lady, and the story is sort of critical. It's a character study of a white woman who has this white savior complex about her organ donation. And she lifted some very direct quotes from this woman's blog. And the story was published, and it was incredibly successful, and it was going to be anthologized. It was doing as well as a short story can do. And the organ donor lady did not like this, and she sued to try and get she made a really big thing out of it. And the question of the piece was, who is the bad art friend? The one who is being so proprietary about her own life that she's interfering in her friend's success, or the one who's sort of vampirically taking from her friend's life to make a story?
Yeah. So what was interesting to me is like the woman who gave the kidney seemed just like an annoying person, just flat out.
Yeah.
She seemed annoying, and she was being annoying about this kidney donation in the sense that she wanted a lot of attention for it. She even, before this story was even written, she emailed this other woman being like, "Didn't you see I donated a kidney?"
Yeah.
What? Like, because you haven't commented on the Facebook group about me donating a kidney. And the friend was like, "Yeah, good for you." And then, of course, secretly is writing this story about her being this egotistical white savior who donates a kidney. And it came out in the court documents that this friend who wrote the story was like, her and all of their shared acquaintances, friends from this writer group were just making fun of her via text and email. And I felt, and ultimately, I think what you said is true. Like, she might be doing it for narcissistic reasons, but philosophically, does that take away from the extreme act of altruism she did?
Yeah, she went under the knife. And you know what? Also, I'm going to go wide with this.
Go
right
wide.
Now. People get married. They splash it all over the internet. People have babies. They splash it all over the internet. There are all sorts of things that people do. Yes. Rory's giving me some amen vibes.
I'm giving you amen, because
things people do that they get all this validation for. Should this woman not get validation for having an organ removed and given to a stranger?
Well, this is a question of modesty, I think. We used to be a much more modest culture. Then social media came out, and we started looking for, and it was started to be okay to look for this like validation in a very blatant way. Here's a hot photo of me. Here's me and my beautiful family. Here's me getting a new job, very successful. But one barrier that we haven't crossed is if you do something good, if you're a do-gooder, you still can't seek recognition for it. It seems to totally be, it's a lack of humility. We think of it as, it sort of nullifies the meaningful act, which I'm wondering if that's really the way it should be. Like, it's not a true self-sacrifice unless you're extremely humble and, you sort of take your ego out of the equation.
Yeah. And, this whole like organ donation thing, I became aware of it through this very online rabbi who's like this like social justice rabbi, and he did a non-directed kidney donation. He's also has like a constant stream of foster children in and out of his house. Like, he's constantly publicizing his good deeds. It's like, this is something we know. This is backed up with data. I forget where I heard this, but it's also intuitive. If you donate money to a cause and post about it on your social media, other people will donate to that cause. Like if you care about being modest, that doesn't help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas things that like are so annoyingly egoic, like the ice bucket challenge, drum up, yes, they're annoying, but
Mm-hmm.
they drum up way more support than the person who like hits donate and then keeps mum about it because they want to be like modest about their goodness.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the thing. But maybe also like you could be using that as an excuse. Well, it's not about me. It's about, getting people to support. But then again, like how much does intention matter? I mean, that's a big philosophical question.
It's a huge philosophical question. And I kind of think that in the case of a kidney donation, it matters very little. Because
Yeah.
if you're on that kidney list and you find out that the person donating your kidney just did it for the likes, you're like, whatever, get that kidney in my kidney hole.
Yeah. 100%. Now, the reason I wouldn't donate it and not do a non-directive kidney donation is because what if someone in my life needs a kidney one day?
If everyone did non-directed kidney donations.
Yeah. Sure. If everyone stopped using plastic, everyone
I know,
stopped
but
driving
that's
their
the thing.
car.
And like a few years ago, there was like a possibility that I would need to give a kidney to a family member. And first of all, I was nervous about that. Not someone I know and like. But he didn't end up needing it in the end. But
That's the thing, though, is like there are certain people in my life. I would donate a kidney to basically anyone close to me that I matched with. Like, I mean, if we're talking about life or death here, like I would 100%. It's like very important that people live in my life, in my opinion. Okay.
yeah.
But there are some people I would do it a little bit more jauntily for, with a little bit more excitement than, oh my God, I'm going to donate this person my kidney.
A work acquaintance.
There are some people closer to me I would want to give kidney to.
If you had a very close relative who needed a kidney and you had already given one to a stranger, all of a sudden that good deed looks really different. It actually looks selfish. It's like when like there was this like moment when I'm gonna air this, okay? I'm airing this to the world. My aunt gave me $100, okay?
I remember this.
And I gave it to a homeless person in Chicago during the polar vortex. I said, you get yourself a hot meal and a place to sleep, my friend. And then I told my brother about it. And he told my dad about it. And they were both so mad at me. They thought I was like the most selfish. So when you do, and like I have no illusions that I did this to make myself feel a certain way, you know?
But like also, weren't you like
concerned that he would freeze to death? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Both. Both of those things.
I actually feel uncomfortable when I have to give people money or things like that, not because but because I don't want them to think that I think it's a big deal or that I'm doing such a great deed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I wanted the big thank you.
See, the thing
I
that
wanted the God bless you.
The thing that makes me anxious about donating a kidney to someone I know is like, I don't want the power dynamics to be affected by it. I don't want someone to feel indebted to me in any way.
I'm going to need a couple of dinners though.
See, I would be like,
just a couple.
I would be like, no, never say thank you. No, it's nothing. Me? Kidney? Who cares? It's nothing. Like, I can't stand the thought of someone thinking I did them like a big favor. What is that? Is that Midwestern guilt?
Yeah, that feels very Midwestern.
That's like when one of our friends was mugged and he mugged her. He had a gun. It wasn't pointing it at her, but he mugged her. And he was riding away on his bike and he was like, I'm sorry, I just need to buy food. And she said, don't worry about it. It's no problem. And I'm like, that is so Midwestern.
Don't worry, that's so funny. But that also feels like white guilt to me.
Yes, I'm
I
sure
don't know
it
what
is.
the racial dynamics were here, but
I
liberal
actually
guilt,
don't know
white
either.
guilt.
I actually don't know either. But I think there is something when people say thank you to me, I always want to be like, no, 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 no. Thank you for letting me give you a kidney.
Well, truly. And
Yeah.
shouldn't it be that way?
Mhm.
Now, okay, here's the question. All right, I was listening to a podcast today about effective altruism, the movement made famous by and then made infamous by Sam Bankman-Fried and his ilk. Do you know about it?
No.
It's this movement. It's popular among like tech bros of like you make a pledge to give most of your money away
Oh,
to
yes.
the most effective
Yes, yes.
organizations. And a lot of it is based in this thought experiment from the philosopher Peter Singer, who says that like if you walked past a pond and there was a child drowning in the pond and you're wearing a really expensive suit and you're on your way to an important meeting, it would be unconscionable to not sacrifice those fancy leather shoes to jump in without hesitation and save that child and be late to your meeting. Now, what Peter Singer says is that we effectively walk past this pond a million times every day because for the equivalent of the cost of that suit, for $500, you could save the lives of many, many children. They just happen to be in other parts of the world and we don't see them. Now, he makes the argument that actually, if you really think about it, it's equally unconscionable, and we all have an obligation to be making that level of sacrifice all the time. I don't know how I feel about that. I maybe believe it, maybe I don't. I don't know. But with giving a kidney, like I'm a little unclear about like what your health prospects are afterwards.
Well, I looked into this, Matt.
Okay.
I just want you to know, I really looked into donating a kidney for the sake of this episode. You're fine. Your kidney, you really don't need two. It's like they accidentally gave you two. And
so should I do it?
And your kidney will your new kidney gets bigger. Your old kidney, your one kidney gets bigger. Like you're fine. But if you might need a kid. That's why there's, it's nice to have two because one kidney goes.
You're at
fine.
the top of the list, though, I believe, if you give one.
Oh, a little VIP service.
I think like if you have only one kidney because you donated one, and then you need a transplant, you get it. You just flash that scar.
Yeah, I think it's like
we can do it on the air.
I think the surgery is like you're in the hospital only for 2 days, the donor. It is a full 6-week recovery, but I think it's like really a week and then, 6 weeks of like, don't go to the gym, maybe.
I'm going to do it.
You should.
Maybe I will. I'm going to look into it.
You should look into it.
It's really nice. And then I'm done. And
then you're done for the rest of your life. Would you stop being vegan?
Oh my God, being a vegan and a kidney donor, I'm really done. I'm out. Never bother me for anything again. I am I'm not even going to vote anymore.
You're going to get on Kylie Jenner's jet to go from Newark to JFK.
Yeah, me and Kylie Jenner, we're just gonna, Kylie, and Heidi Montag. Just cruising around this world. This is something to think about.
What's interesting, okay, about kidneys, donating them, you can't sell them.
No.
Selling an organ is illegal like everywhere, right? In the world?
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because you can sell your eggs, you can sell your sperm, you can sell your plasma, your bone marrow.
You can sell your bone marrow?
Well, maybe, I don't know. Plasma, at least.
You can definitely sell your plasma.
But you can't sell a kidney.
Yeah, I mean, sperm feels categorically different.
Sperm does feel categorically different. It's like snot.
Blood also. Eggs, it's quite an invasive procedure. You know, if the idea is, and this is how I imagine it, if the idea is that we don't want to create a society where, like, there's this, like, that intense scene in Les Mis where she sells her hair, her teeth, and eventually her body because she's destitute.
She doesn't start with her body first.
No, she starts with
She's
her
a
hair.
hairless, toothless hooker.
Yeah.
Do it the other way, girl.
Yeah, no, she's an utter ghoul by the end of it. A hairless, toothless pirate hooker. It's very tragic. They skip the teeth in the movie or in the play because they want her to still be beautiful for us, the audience. But in the book, she also sells her teeth. Book, I never finished it. Okay. I'm waiting till my kidney recovery for that pleasure. So we don't want to create a society where the poor are carving themselves to pieces for a little bit of
it's exploitive. It's exploitive. Yeah.
Exploitative.
It's exploitative. Exploitive? Expletive. Oh, an expletive is something else. Exploitative.
Exploitative.
Yes, it's exploitative.
Yeah. Exploitative. Now, if that's the purpose, I mean, then maybe the egg thing should also be included in that because it's quite invasive. It's like, do we,
100%. And you only have a finite amount of eggs also, like kidneys. There's maybe more eggs than kidneys, and also those are the people who do it, people who need the money.
100%.
I'm sure there's people who do it for altruistic reasons, yada, yada, but a lot of people do it for the money.
Yeah, 100%. Of course. I mean, the being able to preserve the integrity of your body and not sell it off, that's a privilege for the rich.
It's also a privilege to give your kidney. And I think that because I think that the cost is free for the surgery, but
you have to be able to take work 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take off all that work to recover.
Yeah. But then you get a fancy scar to impress your friends like Madeline.
Exactly. I mean, it's for the rich to feel good about themselves, right?
Yeah. Or, for me.
For
the Orthodox Jews to feel, like they've really done it, really done the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why God gave us a kidney, an extra kidney, a little test.
Yeah.
Kindness. Now, what do you think, though, about that argument that, we're walking past the pond every day? Obviously, you and I, we don't have a lot in this world. So, Louis C.K., yes, I'm going there. Louis C.K., he had a bit about this same idea, and it was quite funny and quite thought-provoking, which was that he said he could sell his car, take the money from his car that he sold, buy a new car, buy a nice Honda, still a good, solid car, and with the extra, utterly change a bunch of people's lives around the world. And then he said, every second is a second that I'm not doing that. I'm constantly making the choice to not do that. Now, you and I, obviously, we don't have a car to sell. Well, you do, but...
How could I downgrade more?
Yeah. But there are still things that we spend our money on and that we have that theoretically we could sell and buy a malaria net that would save a life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, what is the right quality of life that isn't selfish? What's the lowest you can go? What's the lowest you can go? I think you're right there. I think the only thing you're holding on to is the kidney.
I mean, there's nothing. I'm looking around. There's truly nothing.
You can't even sell your hair.
No, I could not sell my hair. I mean, the only thing of value is the thing I'm looking at right now, this computer. It's my only way of generating my meager
Income.
salary is
Yeah.
through this computer. Okay. So I'm good.
But, it's interesting because I work in philanthropy. And so the idea of like a lot of people criticize charitable giving, and I totally understand why. You're working within a capitalist system. It's not really solving any problems. And that is the thing that people criticize about charity. Like, oh, you could sell your car and give it to someone, but is that a lasting impact? What we need to be doing is investing and, thoughtful investments and uplifting societies and, really addressing issues like hunger and, wealth and disparities, workers' rights, yada, yada. That being said, him selling his car and giving the extra and changing someone's lives, that's a way better thing than having your nice car, even though it's not what we would call like sustainable change, transformative change.
And who cares? Like giving a kidney is not sustainable change. It's like just one rando person.
Right.
Who might suck. But yeah, it's like to the person whose life has changed. And that was one of when I gave that $100 to the homeless person, I think one of the things that like my dad said to me is like, if you want to help the homeless, you got to give the money to a charity because that guy probably, blew it on drugs, whatever he said. It's a common thing. And it's like, maybe that's true, but like the existence of that person in need of help remains. And this is actually one of the problems I have with like the whole effective altruism thing is because when you break it down, it's like the most effective charities usually end up being these things like malaria nets. If you want the most life saved for your dollar, that's the way to put your money. Whereas a shelter for women escaping from abusive relationships may not be the most effective way to spend your money.
Yeah, well, that's why
still exist and need the help.
Exactly. That's why I don't like, and someone who works in the nonprofit world, I don't think that that's a very good way to look at philanthropic giving is like the most bang for your buck because you're not investing in a tech company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have lots of different reasons for giving, and it's not always to make the most of your dollar investment.
Yeah, like I do think that we should ask tough questions of NGOs and charities that they use money effectively for their respective causes. But I don't think everything can be reduced to like the most life saved for your dollar.
Well, no, and also
fleeing those relationships, they need support too, even though it may not be a matter of life or death for 99% of them.
It could be though, but it's just hard to categorize. Also, yeah, certain things in this realm are hard to categorize. They're not really like black and white like they would be in like, for Apple stock.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just like businesses should be allowed to try things and fail. I do think that charities and NGOs and whatever nonprofits, sometimes they try things and it doesn't work out, and they should also be like allowed to do that as well.
That's true. We need experimentation.
Yeah.
For there to be innovation.
Mm-hmm. But when I was researching this, I was looking into psychological egoism. Is that what it's called? Have you heard about this?
I don't know what that is.
It's like a philosophical principle that no one has ever done anything for truly altruistic reasons. They only it's always about some form of like self-satisfaction or always about feeding your ego. Like
Mhm.
you help the woman across the street, not because you care about her crossing the street, but because it makes you feel good, basically.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
No, not really. I mean, like kind of, but I also think um that the for me, if you ask me what's the ideal like form of like altruism, it's to recognize that we're all part of one self. So yeah, there's like you when you do something that helps we have different levels of this awareness. I think it's probably easier to feel that feeling of unity with our friends and family. So when you help your kid or your parent or your sibling with something, it's very natural for it to feel good to do that because you're like, this person is me. They're part of me. So is that selfish or is it a really deep form of altruism? If you can manage to feel that for a stranger too, because they're also a human, they're also a living soul, is that selfish or is it like a really deep awareness of the shared self that connects us all?
Yeah, that's a really good point. But then at the same time, it's like if would you give a kidney if
If
you
I
could
can tell
tell
anyone.
even God?
Oh, even God wouldn't know.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, probably not, honestly. Is that terrible? I mean, I'm barely on the edge of doing it right now. Like, I'm like not even really there yet. So like now we're taking away some of the key incentives. Um, but yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like if you could um save the world and no one knew. I wrote this short story. It was supposed to be a novel, but it was probably like 6 pages long in the year 2000. Um, so it's a New Year's Eve party. It's Y2K. They're counting down 10, 9, 8. And then at 0, and everyone's kind of nervous. It's like Y2K, what's going to happen? Is the world going to end? At 0, everyone disappears except the little boy who's the story is about. And then he's like in this like shadow world version of the world, and he has to go on this adventure, and he ends up saving the world.
In
Okay.
6 pages.
Yeah. He
Wow, you
saves
were.
the world from these monsters that want to destroy it.
Mhm.
And then you know, and then he returns to his world, and it's like time picks back up. 2, 1,
Mhm.
0. Happy New Year. And then the big twist of the story, all the adults are like, well, looks like nothing happened for Y2K. And he's
Sure.
like, smiles at the camera. It's a book, but so like he has to live the rest of his life knowing that he saved the world, but he can never tell anyone. That probably still feels pretty good because we all have like an imaginary audience in our head.
Yeah, I would definitely save the world even if I couldn't tell anyone, just because I think what else am I going to do?
And you
It's
want to keep living in it.
exactly. Yeah, that's a different ego motivation. Ego motivation, you know what I mean?
Would I give the kidney though? I want to say I would. And why shouldn't I say I would?
It's just a
We can
fantasy.
check.
Yeah.
No one will know if I'm lying. I would. Of course I would. Now here's the real thing though. If you could give an eye to give sight to the blind, like no one would do that.
I think people would do that. Like, how much does it affect your vision having one eye? Pretty much, it kind of does, right?
You could give a nostril to give smell to the smellless.
But you'd have to have like, but it's you're really taking down your um beauty. I mean, a lot of people would be like, you're more beautiful, and like you can still be beautiful with one eye, yada yada. I'm not saying that's not true, but the vanity of
The
going from a
vanity would be huge.
two-eyed person to a one-eyed person, like, do you put eyeliner on that eye?
Anything external, anything that threatened the vanity would have such a higher barrier to it.
100%.
If you could give up your nose to save a child's life,
I think I'd like to meet the child.
like they
know?
need precious nose stem cells.
Sure. Yeah. Are they an annoying child or a thoughtful, adorable child?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is one of my thought questions I used to ask people back in the day. An angel comes to you and says, it's you or this little kid. I'm going to strike one of you dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you look at the little kid, they're the sweetest little thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But the angel tells you they're going to grow up to kind of suck.
Kind of suck.
Yeah, they're not. It's not the next Hitler. It's not a dangerous criminal. It's someone who's not really contributing anything revolutionary to humanity and who kind of sucks. They're not a great person.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do it. No, I'd save myself. Because just because they're younger than me,
yeah, that's pretty much it.
They suddenly deserve to live more than me. I mean, we do have that in our cells. Maybe it's primal, like women and children first. Now it's not really women and children first, just children first.
Really?
I bet. You think if you're on the Titanic today, women are going to get preferential treatment?
I would hope so.
I don't think so. No, we clamored too much for equality.
I want women, children, and gays first.
Yeah, right. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So like we think it's way more tragic when a child dies. And it is because they have like a lot of possibility ahead of them, right? And they're innocent, yada, yada, yada. But you're telling me that this person just in a couple years is gonna be fine, not doing much with his potential.
Yeah.
Strike them down, like let them die at a good point in their lives, childhood.
Without the burden of sin on their soul.
Yeah, and the burden of suffering,
Yeah.
I feel bad for their parents, but my parents are still alive too. They'd be really sad.
Yeah, and I would be absolutely shattered.
What about you?
I'd be like trying to jam my kidney into you to see if it would revive you. Take it. What would I do?
Yeah.
It's a private conversation between me and the angel. I'll take my own. I'll save my own life.
Although I would feel so guilty.
It's terrible. I think I have to go.
I would feel so guilty. I don't think I could enjoy my life anymore. So I might have to go too.
Yeah, you might have to go.
But not happily.
No. And then they tell you that the little kid does it with their own hands.
They kill you
whoever you pick, like if you pick the kid, you have to do it with your own hands. And if you pick yourself,
then 100% the kid has to. I'm not killing a kid.
With a shoelace and
no way. I'm not killing a kid. No.
Okay, so then the kid, you don't know when it's going to happen. At a random point in the next 6 months, the door is going to open.
I'm not killing a kid. I'm not killing an adult.
4-year-old with a shoelace comes in, saying, "It's time."
It's time, mommy.
Big old sacrifices. It's a big sacrifice. Speaking of kids, having kids.
Is it?
Yeah, is it?
I don't know. It's kind of something people just do.
I know, but you
really don't have to.
Your whole life to these little people.
For sure. But
your time, your patience.
You become a real sacrificer if you have kids, but you don't have to have kids.
No,
it's actually a great thing for the planet if you don't. Actually, I can't get a handle on if we want the population to shrink or not.
I know okay. It's so confusing. I was thinking about it the other day. It's like okay,
we're
the argument.
Yeah,
talking about overpopulation is racist.
Okay,
that's one argument. No, that's okay. So there's that. Then we have to talk about overpopulation because of the climate.
Yes.
Then there's actually underpopulation is the danger because then you have an inverted triangle
economy
and the country crashes and burns. So between those three things, where are we?
I don't. Okay, I'm just going to discount talking about overpopulation as racist. Not
Mhm.
because it might not be race. I'm just not going to comment on that. That's a new one to me. But what do we care? It's like, so we're choosing between the economy and the environment. We have to choose the environment. How is there even an option? There's no economy without the environment. So do we want less kids or do we want to keep having kids?
I think that I tend to be pro kid having.
Yeah, you are. But
Um,
is it
like,
because of the economy or is it just because you think it makes your life better?
no, I just I believe that I don't think there's any point to this planet without humans. I think we bring the whole pizzazz.
Oh my God, so interesting. Disagree.
I think
You're
yeah,
like, if there's a stream bubbling in the forest and there's no human to behold it, there's no beauty.
100%. And
Oh, wow.
you're praising God, writing poetry, singing songs. We what? You just want a gazelle being an idiot?
I just say that conscious awareness is, some sort of virtue,
Who are
gives
you?
value.
Human. You're a human who can have that thought, that complex thought.
Having this thought isn't so great.
I think we're God's beloveds.
Okay, well,
We're his prized possession.
that
And I
is,
think we bring something really special
wow,
to
very religious of you.
creation.
Oh, please.
Um,
You wish. You do
because
wish.
no, I really believe it. We're the only ones who can be in a conscious relationship with God.
Do you think God values consciousness that much?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a value judgment you are really projecting, but
Well, it's my faith. You can't say anything about it.
I can because I have the
Right.
ability to be in relation to your thoughts and respond with mine. Anyway, so what were you saying about a gazelle people having kids?
Oh yeah. So I think ideally we should keep the society at replacement level.
Replacement level.
Yeah. Why do we have to get bigger or smaller?
Is that how it works? You just replace yourself and the population will stay the same?
If the average amount of children per person is one,
monogamous heterosexual couple is
it doesn't have to be monogamous heterosexual couples, but if the overall average of a society's reproduction is about replacement level, then the population will
stay the same-ish.
Will stay the same-ish.
Okay.
We grow really fast.
But you're not really into the state, not regulating things like that.
No, absolutely not.
No. Because I know one of your pet peeves is when people are like, China had the right idea.
Oh my God, yeah. When so-called liberals who talk about who claim to be in favor of reproductive freedom praise China's one-child policy. It's that is such an evil, sinister policy.
Yeah, it's resulted in a lot of heartache.
Oh my God.
And abortions that were not wanted. And smugglings of babies out of countries and terrible.
Yeah. I want to have 8 children.
Mm-hmm. All of them having a special relationship with God.
I hope with 8, at least one of them does.
With 8 children, well, first of all, I think you're a little too old to have 8 children.
No.
With every year, the number of children you can have shrinks.
If I start, and I'm not even starting right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to live for a while, unless I give up that kidney.
But how long are you wanting to have? What age do you want to stop having children?
8, I don't really want 8, but I could see 3 or 4.
Oh my God, 4? Ugh, that's such a disorganized family. You couldn't handle it. You couldn't have 4 kids in a minivan with Cheerios all over the place. Absolutely not.
What about 3?
I
Will you,
think
will you give me an okay for 3?
3, if you really want to have 3, you can have 3. But 4, mm-mm.
The thing about 4 is that it just would never happen. I would get to 3, and what is going to possess me at 3
To have a
to
4th.
have a 4th? It's not like, it's not like it's just going to be something that happens one night.
Right. You have to consciously have 3 children.
I have to use science, magic, and money.
Yeah, that's why I think you'll stop at 1.
Because, yeah, it's like too much science, magic, and money. I'm like, ooh, I tapped out all
Yeah.
on that.
Seriously, like you're gonna go. It's
It
like,
was made in a cup, like soup.
and it doesn't happen on the first try a lot. Depends on how long it takes, I guess, to have the first and the second, if you're gonna make it to 3.
Okay, we'll see. I'm
We'll
exhausted just thinking about it.
Yeah, right. Don't you like your freedom? You love to lay in bed and watch TV.
I do love to lay in bed and watch TV. I do love my daily nap.
Your daily nap, your 70 hours of praying.
I could cut down on my special relationship with God.
Yeah, because you could have a special relationship through your children with God.
Exactly. Seeing God in their precious little faces.
Precious little jam faces. They're not going to put the toilet down when they flush it first.
Oh, we'll work on that. What about you?
What about me?
Where are we on having kids today? Changes every day.
Changes every day. Not interested right now. Really enjoying my life.
Really?
The problem is I like my life too much, which I know you feel incredulous about.
Yeah, what's to like?
Did you hear that, listeners? I just want everyone to know that Matt just said what's to like about my life. Okay?
Is it your screaming, ill-behaved cats?
Oh my God. You know what? I can't wait till you have 3 kids and I talk about them the way you talk about my cats.
Your ground floor apartment
Can't wait
where
until
the
you
back alley constantly floods with sewage water?
I can't wait till you have 3 disobedient, unreligious children that you regret. Who give themselves their own names at
Your
the age of 9.
uncomfortable bed.
My beautiful heavenly bed, my angelic kittens. Okay.
My wonderful flooded back alley with sewage water.
One day I'm going to move apartments and then you won't have anything to say about my life.
I'll still be able to comment on that terrible bed.
Yeah. You wish. You wish.
Those shrieking cats.
They're such angels. Come on. I see God in them.
There you go. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
The Lord.
Okay. So in conclusion, Matthew, donate a kidney. You're going to donate a kidney.
I'm doing it tonight.
What's the timeline for you donating a kidney before you're like, you've given up on the idea? Like, how long do you get to be like, I'm thinking about it?
Not much longer, because honestly, like, you want to do it when you're young and you can recover fast.
Is that true, or it's just something you're thinking?
It's just something I'm thinking.
Okay. Because a lot of the people I listened to talking about donating a kidney were not young.
I think I have about 3 years to take a concrete step, like a meeting with a doctor.
Okay. All right.
If I haven't taken a concrete step in the next 3 years, but we will be doing the procedure live over the air.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will not be going under for it. I want to be conscious and present for the deed.
Absolutely. And for me, I'm not going to donate a kidney, but I would donate to someone I know. I don't even have to love you.
Great. Well, I might need one.
Yeah, it's true. We should see if you're a Matt. We should see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that on the air too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, people. We'll be back next week with sort of a year-end recap of all of our episodes. And then
that's fun.
Matt learns information in real time, even though we've discussed this a bunch. And then we're taking a month off in January. And he's dying right now.
Oh, it's going to be January again this year? Exciting. Next month, you say? Oh, they decided to put January after December this year.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and bye, Matt.
Bye, Roar.